Okay, in today's lesson, we're going to talk about a funk jam. In fact, we're going to have some fun doing a jam session together, trying to get that authentic funk style. Now, this is a dead easy lesson. Even if you're pretty new to saxophone, you can follow along with me. In fact, you'll be able to watch my fingers. I'll have the music on the screen, but even if you can't read music, it doesn't matter. And if you're a more advanced player, then check out the rhythms that we're using here today. I think you're really going to enjoy them. So if we've not met before, my name's Nigel, and I run a thing called Sax School, which is a huge online membership learning community for saxophone players. In fact, we've got thousands and thousands of learners who use our lessons every single day. And the reason that we're talking about funk is this month is actually Funk Month in Sax School. So we're talking about funk. Our members are learning a fun challenge song in the style of funk. In fact, it's called The Turkey. And we've been looking at different artists to understand the style of funk and how we can get that sort of sound on saxophone. Now, even if you're not into funk, that's cool. I still suggest it's a great idea to go and check out these different styles because you know what? Every time we learn a new style, it helps us to improve our saxophone skills, to become more rounded as players, and to learn some things that might be outside our comfort zone. We did a great video on the channel actually recently by one of our sax school tutors, Chris. He did this video about Maceo Parker. You can check it out up here, and you should definitely go see that if you haven't watched it yet, because Maceo Parker is one of the greatest funk players around today, and definitely somebody that you need to listen to understand the style. Oh, I forgot to mention you can get the backing track and the PDF from today's lesson too. It's in the Sax School locker, completely free. Grab the link down below and go check it out. So before we really dig into the jam, and we're going to get to that in a second, where I'm going to show you 8 different rhythms that you can use, like 8 little building blocks that are really great fun to use in your solo. Before we get to that though, I want to talk about the rhythms in today's lesson. So the thing about funk music is it's really all based on an underlying subdivision of 16ths. What am I talking about here? Subdivisions, underlying subdivisions? What I'm talking about is for every beat in funk music, there are 4 subdivisions. So it's like da 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 da. And that sort of rhythm goes underneath every piece of funk music that you're going to hear. So you'll hear that sort of subdivision in the way the saxophone player plays. You'll hear it in the way the rest of the band plays as well. The guitar's doing the checka, 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 checka. The bass is often doing those sort of 16th lines. I like to think of it as a grid system. So when you're listening to funk music, imagine that there's a grid going over the music like this, where for every beat we've got 4 subdivisions. And here you can see I've marked them out. So we've got 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. So 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A, da 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 da. Now it's really important to understand that there's this grid underneath our music, because if we can get everything that we play to fit neatly inside that grid, we're really going to get a more authentic funk sound. So unlike maybe some other jazzy styles where we are being a bit more flexible with the rhythm and we're swinging rhythms, pulling things around, in funk it has to be very, very accurate. So next time you're listening to something by maybe Maceo Parker or James Brown, or maybe even something like Tower of Power or even Stevie Wonder, have a listen to the rhythms that are going on in there and see if you can imagine that 16th grid pattern over the top of everything that's going on in the music. Okay, let's get stuck in and have a look at the notes that we're going to use for today's jam session. Now, to keep it really simple, I'm going to demonstrate on the alto sax, but I'm also going to show you the notes on tenor sax in a second. And because I want to keep this not really about the notes, but more about the rhythms, we're only going to use 4 notes. So this jam is in the key of B flat concert, which means on the alto saxophone, we're in the key of G. So we're only going to use these notes. We're going to use the first note, the naming note of the chord, which is the G. But we're also going to use the flattened third, which is the B flat. Now I'm going to do it with my first finger on the B key and the B flat key, but you could also do it 1, 2, and the first side key with your right nose picker down here. Okay, so B flat. We're also going to play the normal third, which is normal B natural. And we're also going to play the 7th, the flattened 7th from this chord, which is an F. So I'm probably going to play it with the octave key on, okay, but those are the 4 notes that we're going to use. So have a go at playing those on your alto. Now it's the same principle for tenor saxophone, but we're going to be in the key of C major, so we're jamming over a C7 chord. So we're going to use the C, which is the root or the number 1 note of the C scale. Then we're going to use the flattened third. Now, that's E flat for us, okay? So I've got my octave key on the back here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and my little finger down here for E flat. We're also going to use the normal third, which is just normal E. And we're going to use the flattened seventh, which is that B flat that we talked about before. So again, first finger on the B key and move it down onto the B flat, or we could use 1, 2, and your nose picker down there on that first side key. So here are the 4 notes for tenor saxophone. Okay, so let's get stuck in and have a jam session using those 4 notes. Now I'm going to demonstrate in the alto sax. You can play along with me on the tenor if you prefer. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to put the backing track on, and then I'm going to play 1 bar. I'm going to play a 1 bar pattern. I'm only going to use those 4 notes, and I'm going to use some simple 16th rhythms. Now, if you're familiar with reading the music, then I'll put the music down below so you could read along with me. But if you're not sure, just listen to how I'm playing it and watch my fingers. What's most important here is that we get the 16th grid, subdivision of rhythm, really, really accurate. So have a listen to the way that I'm playing notes on that to try and keep it really, really in time. Okay, so I'll play a bar, then it's your turn to copy me, then I'm going to do that same bar again, and then you can copy me again, and then we're going to go on to the next pattern. I've got 8 patterns in total for you. They get a little bit more complicated as we go through. So if you find that you're struggling with some of them, just rewind the video and go back and work on them again, okay? And as we get to the end, the last one is a little bit more complicated, but I think we're going to have some fun with it. You up for the challenge? So grab your alto, or grab your tenor, or your soprano, or your bari sax, and let's have a go at playing through it together. Here we go. Alright, how did you get on with that? Now, I understand that some of those rhythms are a little bit more complicated, and I reckon most of us are going to have to go back and do those rhythms a few times to really get them in focus and absolutely accurate with the rhythm. Because remember, it's the 16th rhythms that's so important with this exercise. So you must get them as accurate and tidy as possible. Now, just to give you an idea of why we're doing an exercise like this, the next step from this really is to take those rhythmic ideas and those little melodic nuggets and to try to use them in your solo to, kind of like use them as building blocks that you can build your solo around. So look, I'm going to pop the track on now and just give you 8, 12 bars or something of using a combination of those rhythms with some other notes as well to see if I can use them as a sort of starting point for my solo. Here we go. So there were some good ideas in there. There's some things I might do different next time. But it gives you an idea of how you can work on this in your practice too. So the next step now is to spend some time with this exercise and with the PDF and really work out all these rhythms so you're super comfy, and then try mixing them up and see if you can put them in different orders or use them in a melodic line to try and get that authentic sound. I can't wait to hear how you get on with that. So make sure you leave me a comment and let me know how you get on. Now, there's so much more that you can do with these sort of simple ideas. And in fact, inside Sax School, we've got tons of other lessons like this that'll help you to really open up the doors for funk and all other styles as well, whether it's classical or ska or jazz, straight ahead jazz or blues. So if you want to go and check out more stuff, then go see what we're doing inside Sax School. There's just tons of stuff in there to help you. And I'll put some details down below where you can go and find out more about that. But of course, there's loads of other stuff on my channel here too. So whatever you're doing, keep practicing hard, make sure you explore the other lessons, and I'll catch you next time.